Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be discussing a Counterpunch article, and it's regarding the future of Cuba. Let's get right into the quotes of the Counterpunch article. And I quote from Counterpunch: "The ending of sanctions from Cuba and US signifies a much different thought than originally anticipated. This actually signifies the destruction of sovereign socialism." What does that mean? Well, that's specifically talking about the revolution that happened about 50 years ago in Cuba. It's signifying the end of the Communist Party in name, Cuba. Now, why is this good? Why is this bad? Well, first off, why is the US doing it? And the US is doing it, first off, because they're angry. They're very angry about the fact that Cuba, 90 miles off the coast of its sovereign land, has been a communist nation for over 50 years. This is very aggravating for the world's only superpower. They don't want to see this. The Bay of Pigs was a disaster. All the times they tried to kill Fidel Castro, all disasters. They want change, and this is a good way to do it. End the embargo and have an embassy. The second reason is, if Cuba becomes a capitalist nation and they establish, let's say, a free trade, then they can outsource many jobs. They can outsource jobs. Well, this is via the large corporations. They can outsource these jobs and have their wages for a cheap price. And they can also increase trade, which will increase profit and improve and stimulate the economy within the United States overall. But what's very interesting to note here is how it's going to be implemented. The first off is the embassy. The embassy signifies it all, because now in Havana, Cuba, the capital, there will be a U.S. embassy that will pretty much have a little bit of control over what's going on in the civil day-to-day actions. There might be some lobbyist money put in there, and this is going to start to signify change in Cuba and may signify a revolution towards a capitalist state. We don't know for sure what's going to happen in Cuba, but the stage is set. I mean, Cuba right now, in my opinion, is trying to pull what China tried to do. And what China tried to do is kind of like a state-run socialist society, meaning they had it's a welfare society where the government is in bed with the private sector, the corporations. Well, the key difference between China and Cuba is that China had strong natural resources and a much larger corporation. Cuba doesn't have this. Cuba doesn't have the natural resources that China does. It doesn't have a large population. So its goal of getting this done is slim to none. In my opinion, this is certainly that's going to be good for Cuba overall, because of the oppression that's been occurring within Cuba right now, and it's a good step in the right direction for the U.S. to finally end its trade embargo so that we can finally have a discussion about this and hopefully have some positive ground on this topic. Thank you.